Want to attend the legendary Thrivetime Show Business Workshop for free? Subscribe on iTunes, leave an objective review, and send us confirmation at info@thrivetimeshow.com to claim your tickets. Want to live in a van down by the river? Come by and see us at our Riverwalk offices, and we'll be able to make your dreams come true.
Hola, Thrive Nation. Welcome back to the podcast conversation. On today's show, we have Marshall Morris, the co-author of the Amazon best-selling book, Start Here. We have Eric Chupp, the business coach, and we have Harley Lichtenstein.
Hello.
An Oral Roberts University graduate, and he is going to be asking us questions about implementation because we teach on the show a lot of times this is what to do, and Harley's made a list of things where he goes, I don't quite understand why, or I think a client might have this question. And so what is your next question, Mr. Harley?
Well, the next question. So on the Proven Path, one of the first things you start up on is creating a world-class and gorgeous website.
Right.
But my thought is, wait, what does a gorgeous and world-class website mean? What does that look like, you know?
Okay. So this is where I'm going to get real, and somebody will probably go, you're a mean person. You're a meanie.
You're a Grinch.
You're a meanie.
You're a Mr.
You're
Grinch.
a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. Okay, so here we go. What happens is a lot of times
Sorry, that was good. I'm sorry.
you're a mean one. But there's a lot of like really nasty websites where you look at it and you go, that is sick. That is not good. And when you do that, everybody knows except for the person who made it, because the person who made it's usually, it's like their wife made it and they don't want to tell anybody how awful it is. So I'm not going to mention a specific company today because I think that would be mean to do that. And I'm not all about doing that. But it's like your website is gross and everyone knows your website's gross, but you don't know that your website's gross. So Marshall, I think that most people out there would know what a terrible website looks like, and I think that they just won't say anything because they don't want to offend people.
I think you had a claimation that would perfectly sum this up, is that people would more readily flag you down and tell you that your gas cap isn't twisted on all the way,
right?
Your gas cap's hanging out, before they would tell you that your website is terrible. Now, what is that? It's because people don't want to be candid. They don't want to bring up the reality. They don't want to be mean, okay? Because that's typically what you get accused of. Oh, my gosh, why would you say that? You're being so
this
mean.
is how we do it. If I'm in a meeting with Marshall, and Marshall is the client, I would say to Marshall, I would encourage all of our coaches to do it this way, and this is how we pretty much do it. I'd say, Marshall, I want to help you grow your business, and you know that. And so do I have permission to be candid with you and kind of help you fix the website, or do you want me to just sort of not say the tough thing?
Ooh. Well, no, I definitely want to hear the truth. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Are you? But I want to say that because a lot of people would say, I mean, you might be a different client there, but Marshall, I would say out of all the clients I've worked with my entire life, I would bet probably all of them would feel like I'm a jerk if I just unsolicited, if I just said, hey, this is what needs to be fixed on your site.
If you just came out and said it.
Right. So are you okay with me giving you feedback on that?
Yeah. I mean, I want feedback. I want to get better.
Now, let me make sure you're getting this, Thrive Nation. I have one person in my life who used to be a personal trainer. I think he still is, but he lives in Minnesota. And this is what he used to do all the time. This was his move, and this is why his business has never done well. And it never will do well. And I don't think to this day that he's ever made any money in this career. He's jacked. He's big like Charles Kolaw, but you're working out. Yeah. I mean, Chup, imagine this. You're working out. You're in the gym working out. You got headphones on. He will walk up to you, not know you. He doesn't know who you are. You have not asked him for advice. He'll walk up to you and say, hey, man, how's it going? You're good. He's like, hey, if you're not really doing the right form there, in order for you to expand, because it looks like you've got kind of puny lats.
Hey, step off, bro.
In order for you to develop bigger lat muscles, what you'll need to do is, and he'll like tell you.
My wife loves my lats, bro. Step off.
Or he'll walk up and say, hey, your posture isn't quite how it needs to be. If you want to improve your posture, you'll need to. And he starts giving you unsolicited feedback. people don't want that stuff.
It's not a good situation.
Furthermore, there's a person who used to be in our family. This is a hilarious story. But this person used to come over all the time. They used to come to my house and would give me interior decoration feedback about my man cave without asking.
Yeah.
For they didn't say like, hey, do you want feedback? Because the look that I'm going for in the man cave is like a cryptic underground bar in Boston.
I think you achieved it. Yeah.
Well, I'm almost there, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to create a home that would be on the man cave. It wouldn't be featured on like the Chip and Joanna show.
Not HGTV.
Right.
So again, you have to ask the person for feedback. Now I'm going to read you a notable quotable, and I'd like Marshall to break it down. Hopefully this answers your question here, Gnarly. So Elon Musk once wrote, he says, I find it remarkable that I could explain the reality of a situation to people, their website, and still not change their point of view. The facts are very plain. Your website is nasty. And the reasoning is very clear. You're not making any money with your website. But they still won't agree with the conclusion because I built it myself. It's crazy. Rather than learn from their experiences, they choose instead to engage in wishful thinking. I wish it was better. Perhaps it's more comfortable than reality. My husband and I built this ourselves. But I think that wishful thinking is one of the most profound human failings. The major reason that people adhere so strongly to wrong ideas. Does this make me look fat? No, the 40 pounds do. This doesn't mean that you can't be optimistic. You simply have to be realistic as well. Jack Welch piles on and says, face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it to be. Chup, I'm declaring myself eligible for the NBA draft. I feel like I've got the stock. I feel like I got the moves. I've been working on it. I've got to score basketball for a while. I'm 37. And I've got this move. I got this one move, unblockable. I'm going for it, dude.
Oh, boy.
And most people wouldn't say, friends wouldn't say, dude, what are you doing?
Are you open for some feedback, Clay?
So this is so Marshall, walk me through how you navigate the weeds when there's a client who is paying us. They want to get better and they want to improve in some aspect of their business, but it becomes apparent that they don't want feedback. What are the words that you would try to say? How do you try to do it? And does it ever frustrate you?
Well, the important principle here is the teacher cannot appear until the student is present.
Oh, yes.
But this isn't just business. This is every aspect of life. This goes for your family. This goes for your coworkers. This goes for your friends. Is nobody is willing to receive feedback from you. They don't want you to give them advice on anything unless they ask for it.
True.
So if you live your life by this, I've seen you do this, Clay, where I'm like, you're just literally just watching them not do it the right way or do something. And you go, well, when they are ready for my advice and my expert counsel here, I'm more than happy to help them.
Well, you've seen our 5 kids in the office.
That's right.
And I would say that if you're around my kids, you'll notice that they're like Havana's 13, but she'll talk to you like she's 30.
Yeah.
Right.
They're around a lot of adults.
Yeah.
I see other people that have 13-year-olds that won't look them in the eye and that will literally argue with them in public. They'll go out to dinner with their. I mean, you've seen this. Mm-hmm. My kids don't do that. People always come up to me at restaurants all the time. It happens almost every time we take our kids out to eat. Someone comes up to us and says, "Your kids are so well behaved," and I thank you, but very rarely does someone ever ask, "How do you do it?" Right. So recently, somebody came up to me and said, "This is a true story." They said, "My kids won't go to bed at night. What do you do?" And I said, "What do you mean? How old is your kid?" They go, "Oh, we just had a new baby." I said, "Okay, cool. There's a book called Baby Wise. I would suggest that you would read that book and implement the system." And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just implement the system." And they go, "Well, what is it basically, the system?" And I said, "Do you want to know the system?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "Just tell me what I need to do." And I said, "So you want to know what to do?" Okay. If I'm telling you what to do, now you're wanting to, because you're asking me, how does it work? I said, yeah. What you do is when you have a kid, you put your kid in your bed, and no matter how much they cry, you don't go check on them. And they go, "What?" They go,
"Whoa."
Yeah. And then they quit doing it because they realize it's hopeless. And then the baby learns, I'm not going to cry anymore. And then I go to sleep at 8:30. And I've done that with all the kids. So I have never been a sleepless person. So having a baby for us does not represent sleeplessness. Furthermore, they say, well, how do you get your kids not to talk back to you? I say, they are so scared of what would happen if they do that it just doesn't happen. It doesn't make sense for them. They're like, so you're saying that you would advocate physically hitting your children if they yell at you? And I would say, I would never beat my kids or do anything that would be, I wouldn't go to jail for it. But they are so scared of the consequences of doing something poorly, like in terms of their behavior. They're so, it would not be abnormal for me to say you can't come out of your room for like 3 days if you do that again.
Right.
And they're so used to these sorts of like options that I almost never have to punish them, because the few times I have, the rumors of what happened continue to grow over time amongst the 5. They're like, you don't want to do that.
It was a bat with we had rebar on the end and barbed wire hanging off of it, I swear.
Yeah, I literally have not had to discipline my oldest daughter in probably 9 years. But it's because they remember the one time. So again, I can't teach you parenting unless you want parenting advice.
That's right. And so the first thing that you have to do with a client is you have to establish, one, are they somebody that's willing to get better? Are they open-minded to receiving feedback?
You can't buy business coaching for your friend.
That's right.
Because they don't want it.
Because they don't want it in the first place. Okay.
Right.
The second thing is you got to establish what level do they think that they're at, and you got to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say that your website is in terms of branding? Is it a 4? Is it a 5? Is it a 9? What is it at? Okay, you got to establish what is the current level of satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you establish, well, where do you want to go to? I would advocate that we need to get that beast up to a 10. We got to brand it at a 10. You got to brand it world class. You're not competing against everybody else in the industry, but consumers are expecting a level of branding like Tesla or Tiffany and Company or Rustic Cuff here in Tulsa. But all of these brands are world-class brands, and that's what needs to be setting the bar, not just Bill's blog down the street.
Correct. And so, again, if the question is how to deliver real and raw feedback about websites or anything else, the student has to be present before the teacher can appear. And then what we do is we just go out, we look at best practice websites. So you want to look at the big boys. Who's already doing it? So Harrys.com, Harrys. That's a beautiful site, works great. They make a lot of money. Tesla, great site. They make a lot of money. You would just look at best practice websites. And the only difference between the big companies and the small businesses is small business, their website needs to also be search engine friendly. It can't just look nice. So we have templates and systems we've developed that bridge the gap. So your site can look great and also convert well. And the best examples I could give for you guys today that I could share with the listeners, and we'll pull this up on the show notes here, but one is klortho.com. I'll pull it on the site, Harley, so you can see that website. klortho.com. This is his site. It converts well. It looks nice. People like it. Then there is Tip Top Canine, which is it's very, very close to becoming the highest reviewed dog training company in America. We're about 100 reviews away from being the top-rated dog training company in America. That's a great-looking site. And then Delricht Research. These guys are based in New Orleans, and they have a wonderful website. They're Marshall's client. Site looks great. If you pull it up here, the site looks great. And again, but they have to be search engine compliant and look nice. And so does that answer your question about how to create a world-class website and how to deliver real and raw feedback to clients?
I believe it sure does.
All right, and we like to end this show with a 3 and a 2 and a 1, and then at the end we had a little boom and a little boom spice. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.